2 minutes, we should be ready. Song will finish then. All right, welcome everybody. This is episode 3 of the We Have Landed Entertainment podcast. That was our theme song playing, and tonight we have a special guest for you. We have got the man who actually made the theme song. I meant to ask this earlier, since this is a game podcast, how you wanted me to introduce you. You want to do Renegade? You want to do your name? I don't know how you want me to introduce you. I'll let you.
You can use Renegade.
Okay,
Renegade Poetics, yeah, as artists. Yeah, Renegade Poetics.
Yep, we were introduced the man. This is Renegade from Street Poetics Entertainment. You are, and let me make sure I got this right. You're the CEO, and what other title did you give yourself for this? CEO and what?
CEO and founder, man.
CEO and founder, that's right. CEO and founder of Street Poetics Entertainment. Pulling up his website now. Go ahead and plug your stuff. I'm sure you do a better job of it than I will right now.
Yeah, if you need. Right now we're doing a free promo for free mixing and mastering for audio. So that would be like one track. It'd be I need your track outs and of course vocals all separated. And then you can send that to streetpoeticsentertainment@gmail.com. You can get 3 tracks done for $120 for professionally mixed and mastered, radio ready quality. As far as custom instrumentals you guys would need, like if you like the theme song, you need a theme song for anything. I do all genres, even country if you want country. Those start at about $50. You can hit me up again, streetpoeticsentertainment@gmail.com. We conduct most of our business via Facebook, so go ahead and add my Facebook at facebook.com/SPENT-LLC, and then IG Street Poetics Entertainment, Twitter Street Poetics EN because you couldn't fit the T. Twitter's stupid. As I was, it's SPENT_LLC. I had changed it. Anyways, enough plugging, enough about me. We're here for We Have Landed Entertainment. I'm excited to be on the show. It's an honor to be on the show.
All right, and
it's good to catch up with you again, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
It's been a while.
We've both been pretty busy. Most people don't know. I think the only people that actually know are the actual other guys in my gaming crew, Exiled Existence. Most people don't know you're actually the one who helped me get started with the business. I had kind of an idea I'd been kind of throwing around. I knew you had been doing your thing. You kind of let me know exactly what you're doing with your music business. You let me know what your girlfriend was doing. You kind of show me how to get started up. So most people don't know you actually helped me get started with this. So you're kind of partial brainchild to help getting me started. So for that, I would be eternally grateful. But most people don't know that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, man, it was fun. I'm glad that you took the leap. Working for yourself, it can be stressful because you don't have a boss, so no one can tell you, hey, you have to get out of bed and get to work. You know what I mean? Like, you have to just do it. And some days it's tough. You know, there's days when you're like, fuck my life, and there's days when you love it. You know what I mean?
Yep, pretty much.
It's just a grind, but it's great. It's no better feeling than having your own company and being a part of something that you created. You know what I mean? And then sharing that with other people and then allowing them to be a part of it. You know, it's a big deal. You know.
Definitely. And again, we're small, we're getting started, and you're by far you're our first guest, so that's another honor you get to have. You're our first official guest.
Number 1 spot.
And
not too loud. Hope not too loud.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Because my Astros suck. Gigantic.
And by the way, this is our first time doing this broadcast over OBS. We're doing it off my computer. Normally, you guys know we do it off of PlayStation 4. Today, we're doing it off the computer. That way, I can actually show some articles too, and I got a little bit more control as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into the news. And me and Renegade were talking about this beforehand a little bit about what's been going on. And I'd started to make a video, and actually, I recorded all the footage and everything. I got everything ready. But there's just so much coming out in the news. Like, literally, every hour there's something new being added on to all of these different issues going on. So we're going to start with the big one, the top of the hour. The biggest money is EA right now. Again, for those who don't know, there is a huge pushback against gamers and pretty much all across the globe, including some governments, about the way the new Battlefront 2's loot box system worked. For those that don't know, EA is notorious for this, but Battlefront 2 essentially had a paid loot box system in their game, and where most games such as Overwatch only had cosmetic items in there that you could still earn in-game. You know, you could earn the loot boxes in-game, but you could also buy them as well. Battlefront 2 had exclusively nothing but power and progression items locked behind their loot boxes. Gamers had essentially gone through and calculated how long it would take to earn everything in the game versus having to buy it. Long story short, we're talking thousands of hours of straight grinding for power items, by the way. These are not cosmetic items. These are power items. The progression was literally locked behind loot boxes. So to progress quickly, essentially, you could buy the game, spend $1,000, and be overly competitive compared to everybody else who didn't. So pay-to-win game is essentially what happened. The gaming community fought back against this one and is still fighting back against it very hard. In fact, you may have heard this because it's kind of been going all around the news everywhere. EA did AMA and Ask Me Anything on Reddit addressing some of these issues. That AMA is by like 100 times, actually no, it's by 300 times. It is the most downvoted subject, the most downvoted topic on Reddit to date. It was over 690 points, or 690,000 points downvoted. So they made history. This is how bad this went. Now,
so people are upset about the fact that if the players who paid to get better stuff were better because they could pay. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They're upset that
that's not fair. You know what I mean? So if you're playing against some rich kid, you know, he's gonna have all the sweet stuff, and you're just gonna get wrecked every time. What's the fun in that?
Exactly. Not only is it a pay-to-win mechanic, which normally you're used to seeing in mobile games, which are free or free-to-play games. Okay, the game's free. Whatever, you expect that, but this is a $60 premium game. Not only is it pay to win, but you can't even buy the items you want. It was all randomized loot. So by now, all this is old news. It's been going on for a while. EA had to pull the loot box system, not the loot box system. They had to pull the in-game currency to buy loot boxes. Literally, like right before the day before the game launched, they turned off the system. Now they did say they're going to be bringing, they'd be bringing it back, but they said after they balance it and yada yada and all that crap. Essentially, they still want microtransactions in the game. They just don't know how to sneak them back in without people getting pissed. Now, here recently this week, EA came back with their reasoning for why they locked power items behind the loot boxes. Their reasoning was that they wanted to try to stick to the canon of Star Wars. Now, keep in mind this is a Battlefront game. This is a game where you can pit Yoda against Darth Vader, against freaking every character from every aspect of the damn genre, like characters that would never meet ever, and they'd be able to fight alongside each other and against each other. So obviously the game doesn't actually follow canon. It's just essentially a brawler with all your favorite Star Wars characters. Well, they came back and blamed the Star Wars canon, saying that they couldn't put any cosmetics in the loot boxes because it would go against the canon. And I do believe that they specifically said, and it was the weirdest thing ever, that they were pretty sure people didn't want to see like pink Darth Vaders running around. That's why they didn't put like cosmetic stuff, like customization stuff behind there. So that blew up in their face because that is the dumbest reason ever. And then data miners went in and actually found out that they have a customization system in the game. It's just not implemented. So their whole reasoning for why they wanted to have loot boxes in there is already blown out of the water because they have the customization system in there. They were just greedy and wanted to lock, power behind loot boxes.
Yeah, that's basically EA Sports in a nutshell, though.
Yeah.
I really think EA Sports ruined the new Battlefronts. To me personally, I like the original ones. I used to love them. Like I could not wait for the next one to come out. You know, because it was like a giant battlefield. It's a war. There was actually a point to it. Now they're trying to keep up with Call of Duty. You know, it just reminds me of Call of Duty Star Wars Edition.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, I was really disappointed. Like it looks pretty. Don't get me wrong. It looks pretty. They did a great job visually, but it's just Call of Duty, man. It's such a letdown. Like if they had, I mean, I get it, multiplayer. Everyone wants to be in the competitive multiplayer field, especially because you can make a lot of money in the competitive field. But they should have had like still the original what Battleground was built on, and then have the options that they have now. You know what I mean? Instead of just that one game mode, they should go back to the gigantic wars, especially because of how good it looks. You know, I'm talking about big battles. You know what I mean? Like the actual like wars. We need that, not this fucking Call of Duty with Star Wars and vehicles. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
My opinion. It really was a big letdown. Like I stopped buying Battlefronts after that first new one came out.
Yeah,
I stopped getting excited for them.
and keep in mind that this newest Battlefront 2 was supposed to be an apology to the gaming community for putting out. I mean, everybody loved the last Battlefront, but they made a half-assed game and no campaign mode. This was supposed to be a "we're sorry" type game, and it turns out it's a "we want all your money" type game. Well, after all this came out, after the whole loot box debacle, I mean, people started going so nuts over this that governments got involved. First, it was Belgium. They promised to look into the loot box situation to see if it counted as gambling, because the whole thing was the ESRB wouldn't touch this, Peggy wouldn't touch this, because they said technically it's not gambling, because you essentially can't get any money back, was their whole reasoning. I think the ESRB wouldn't touch it because it wasn't their realm to do it, and Peggy wouldn't do it because it didn't technically count as gambling. I might have those mixed up, but essentially they couldn't do it. They couldn't label these gambling. And by the way, if games are gambling, there are online gambling games where you can win money. Those have to have a certain rating on them. Be like adult or something. You have to be like 21 and older to buy them. So imagine a game like Battlefront having the adult rating. Obviously, it's going to cut into their sales big time. Well, they avoided that rating just because you can give them money, but you don't technically get anything back. Well, government started looking at this because, one, again, people asked them to, and two, I mean, this is an addictive. I mean, this type of loot box system actually preys on people. It actually preys on addictions. There is anecdotal evidence out there. There was one streamer who just came out and said, yeah, he spent over $21,000 on microtransactions on various games, you know, loot box type things, pay to win games. We just had in the news here a 19-year-old who over the last few years, I think he spent $13,000 on microtransactions. He was addicted to it. So obviously anecdotal evidence, but this whole loot box pay to win system, it preys on, you know, gambling addicts. It preys on people who would be susceptible to that kind of thing. Now, government's looking into it just because of this, and what they've come out so far is that they're kind of agreeing from what we're seeing that technically, yes, it's not gambling, but they're worried enough to where they're still going to look into it and see about regulating this. So we could still potentially see things from governments as far as more regulation in these types of games. That makes me a little uneasy, don't get me wrong. I would love to see loot boxes just stamped out or get an automatic, hey, this is an adult game, you know, this is gambling, whatever, don't buy this game or get a certain rating. I'd love to see that, but I don't want to see it come from the government just because government regulating more stuff is never good. I would like to see this happen within the industry and by the gamers to where they have to regulate it to where, and we're going to touch on this a little bit more later because I got an idea for this, but I'm glad that people are looking at this, but I'm kind of wary when the government steps in and says, okay, we're going to start regulating your industry or the, you know, the stuff you love to do. So that kind of puts me in a weird position because
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I got to be consistent. I mean, I'm for a smaller government. I don't want them poking their nose in it, but at the same time, part of me can't help but be a little excited because, okay, they're looking at this. At the very least, it's going to scare the crap out of these companies. And in fact, if the government looking at them wasn't enough, I got an article right here in front of me. Let me go ahead and move it over here. This is from Game Revolution, but you can find several articles like this. EA has just lost essentially $3 billion in stock value. The actual title is EA loses $3 billion in stock value after Battlefront 2 debacle. Again, this is all over the place, and this article is written by Jason Faulkner. Got to make sure I cite all my stuff. Yeah, essentially they go into the article about how EA's stock is down 8.5% month to date, which equates to $3.1 billion in losses. It's quoting directly from the article. the company, I believe, is still up there from last year, but $3.1 billion is a huge chunk of their stock price. Essentially, their stock price has gone down quite a bit. They're still doing well as far as profit, but this took a huge chunk out of it. So that's just one more way where gamers...
Yeah, they lost a lot of money for that.
Yeah, they're losing a lot of money for it, and they're probably going to stand to lose even more because you would think they would have learned their lesson after all this. Well, guess what? They've got another game coming out, UFC 3, which, as of right now, suffering from the exact same problem Battlefront 2 has.
UFC fucking blows. Not the actual league, but I'm talking about the game. I mean, the games are cool. I don't mean to. I hope I don't offend anybody because there's a lot of diehard people that play the game.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the controls suck cocks, like to the maximum level. Like the controls are just so bad. Unless you really know the controls, or like you're one of those like nerds that really play UFC like religiously.
Mm-hmm.
If you pick up the sticks, like hey, so yo, if you invite me over to play UFC, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Even if I try to know what the fuck I'm doing, it's just like you just don't know what the fuck you're doing. You know what I mean? It's like one of those games. It's probably the most hardest game to play, like control-wise. I don't know. That's my opinion. Other than that, I mean, it's not that bad of a game. But once you get on the ground, like once you're no longer fighting, the hardest part is just that's it. Once you're on the ground, it's like you're just like mashing the controller. You know what I mean?
Well, here's where this kind of comes into play. One, I agree with that. I haven't played any UFC game. In fact, I haven't even played a wrestling game since way back in the day.
Dude, you'll play UFC and you'll take it right out your system. You'll be pissed as fuck. You'll be, what the fuck am I even doing? You'll be getting your ass whipped. You don't even know why.
But I think like the last fighting game was like Def Jam or something. It was like the rapper wrestling game that was out like way back in like 04
Vendetta, dude. That
yeah,
game
there
was
we go,
the
Vendetta.
shit.
I love that game.
That game was the shit.
I love
dude.
That was the last real fighting type wrestling game I played in a while. I mean, I loved it. But
you didn't play Mortal Kombat X when it came out, dude? That game was the shit too.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm talking wrestling type games. I still play Tekken and stuff, but I'm talking like that wrestling type ring game.
Oh yeah. UFC sucks, dude. Honestly, Fight Night's better.
Is it?
It's kind of same kind of concept. Excuse me, I just burped. Same kind of concept, I guess. You use the sticks to like make your swing. You know what I mean? So like you like swipe left and that like you flick to the left and then like, you swipe it around. You know, kind of like you're actually doing a hook. You're doing a jab. You just click it to the front real quick. You know,
gotcha.
You can do it that, or you can use the buttons. I prefer to use the sticks. More natural, and you can actually be faster than the player that's using the buttons. It's just harder because if you don't do it right, you're not going to get the swing you want. But the Fight Night games are really good. It's just that I thought Fight Night was hard, but I actually got pretty good at Fight Night. But then when I played UFC, it's like a whole new world of just like bad controls. Like it's just really bad. It's a very unbalanced game.
Well, apparently along with that, it is also pay to win too. So imagine all those games we just talked. Yeah, imagine we just talked about.
Yay.
Here's another article from Game Revolution. EA's UFC 3 Ultimate Team is built on pay to win loot boxes. Same thing as Battlefront 2. It's apparently another premium game that is built around loot boxes. Man, I went through and I read some of this. I watched a couple of the videos going over it. Apparently, all the upgrades like stamina, strength, I don't know what they all are, but like the stamina, pretty much all the stuff to build up your character is, again, randomized and locked behind loot boxes, including some of the actual like real-life characters, like real-life UFC fighters. They have, like, I guess, stronger base stats, so they can go up higher. Well, they're locked behind loot boxes too, and the entire game is just loot box progression based. So EA rolls from Battlefront 2, that whole shitstorm to where they've become a worldwide meme at this point for how bad this game was as far as pay to win goes, to into another game, not nearly as big as Battlefront 2, but hey, it's still a big one, UFC 3. So I don't think EA is going to learn their lesson anytime soon. I think they're still making too much off of sports games and stuff. I think they're going to keep trying to push this until they can find a balance to where either A, they can get away with the loot boxes they put in, or B, gamers give up trying to fight this.
See, I think EA is going to sit there and laugh because people are still going to buy the games. So at the end of the day, they're still going to buy the games. The gamers are going to bitch, but EA knows that they're going to buy the games regardless how fucked up it is and how unfair it is. You know what I mean? I think it's crazy that the government is involved in this, but at the same time, EA knows, because they're a gigantic corporation now, EA knows that gamers are what? They're going to buy the game anyways. They might not buy into the microtransactions, but they're gonna buy the game. And of course, like you said, their sports games is what keeps them afloat.
Oh yeah, stuff like
as
FIFA.
Soon as yeah, Madden fucking like 38's out before like the year's even out. Like they always have a new Madden every year, and people go out and buy the new Madden. It's the exact same game as the last one. They might make it look a little bit better. They're all the same games, just like Call of Duty. It's the same thing. Yeah. All Call of Duties are the same, and people keep buying them. You know what I mean?
New maps, a couple new faces, and that's it. New package.
You might be able to you might be able to customize your character to make it look like you nowadays. You know what I mean? Because of Snapchat filters and shit.
Well, like, and before I might have agreed with you on people still buying the games, but one, the Battlefront 2 sales are down. I think 60% on Battlefront. This is coming from Eurogamer. 60% down. Some are saying 50, some are saying 60. I've seen some saying up to 78% as far as their sales down. The fact that they turned off microtransactions for now, pretty big too. And I think you're right on certain games for at least now. Some gamers are going to buy it, but I've noticed in the last few years, and we're going to roll over into Destiny 2 on this, and it's going to kind of back up my point and let me know what you think. But I don't think they're going to be able to get away with as much. And I say that because of sites like Reddit. I say that because of third-party independent journalists and gamers in general having a bigger voice than ever. I mean, gaming is bigger than Hollywood by like a large margin. You're cleaning your gun back there. I can hear it.
Yeah, I'm playing with it.
Yep, by like a huge margin. And with social media, we've got a bigger voice than ever to call out, you know, shady practices like this, like EA trying. Like, imagine if this was like back in 2000, really before. I mean, even when MySpace was still, you know, cool and shit.
Yeah, MySpace was a great concept. Yeah. Whenever you go to the profile, man, and you have your favorite song playing, so it was really personable. I can't believe they stopped that. Like, Facebook doesn't even have that. Like, MySpace got flooded with ads. I don't know we're off topic there, but I'm like, you know, MySpace was actually really cool.
It was.
Like, I liked it better than Facebook. Yeah, but then Facebook just shitted on it.
Yeah, definitely more colorful and more customization on that.
Oh yeah, you could be more. You could really embrace like your individuality on Space, you know.
Yeah. But,
not as much on Facebook. Anyways, off topic. Sorry.
Yeah, but back in those days, I mean, we weren't nearly as yeah, we had the internet, but we weren't nearly as connected, nearly as easily as we are today. Now you can't so much as sneeze without fucking 500,000 people knowing about it. So at the very least, I think these projects are going to get called out, and more now it seems that back when everyone was like, okay, well, vote with your wallet, don't get the game, it seems like we have so many games now, and other platforms like Steam, we have so many independent games, and we have so many different journalists out there kind of bringing all this stuff to light, people are actually starting to vote with their wallets. One, because of people who were buying those games back in the day now were older, and, you know, stuff like Battlefront, Star Wars, you know, games that we've been playing for a long time, Call of Duty, well, we don't want to buy those games. Remember the stuff we got for free back in the day, now we're being charged for. I don't want to have to buy cosmetics in Destiny 2. That stuff was free for me in Destiny 1. Again, we're getting to that here in a little bit. But, I mean, those of us that, you know, we're saying, you know, vote with your wallet back in the day, and we're still buying the games, but we're older now, we're not buying the games. And since we're more and more connected, I mean, you screw up like they did in Battlefront 2, you become a laughingstock. I mean, now we're at the point to where games like freaking Monster Hunter, not necessarily a huge game in America. It's got a pretty niche following, but it's still pretty popular. It makes front page news everywhere because they announced we're not going to have loot boxes. It's just going to be straight up, here's the game, $60. The same experience you've been enjoying for years since way back in the day on PS1. Enjoy, and hopefully we made a good enough game you guys are going to like. They made front page news everywhere by announcing they weren't going to have loot boxes. And keep in mind, this is a game that is loot-based. The whole thing is, you know, get more loot off of monsters. They could have very easily put in something like boosters for like better RNG or, you know, randomized gear you can get. They could have very easily added loot boxes into this or even microtransactions in general, and they didn't do it, and they made huge news. I can guarantee that sales for this game are going up just because they said they're not going to have loot boxes in there or microtransactions.
Yeah, I agree. I get annoyed with all that, the microtransactions. Like with Overwatch, dude, I love it because you can get the loot boxes. I mean, it's mostly cosmetic. You don't get really any power-ups. Well, let's talk about the game Paladins real quick. It's not going to be long. Paladins is, I feel like Blizzard ripped off Paladins wicked hard. That can be a whole different day of debating. Paladins, you can customize your characters, but at the same thing with cards, like, you know, like you pick the card. So even if someone has the same character as you on the other team, it could be a completely different loadout. And it's almost like a pay-to-play, but it's not because you can choose to buy stuff, or you can just get the loot boxes, just like Overwatch, and you don't have to pay for it. So you know what I mean. So it's fun for everybody in a sense that you don't you don't have to. There's still gonna be people that are gonna buy the loot boxes, but you're not guaranteed to get the power ups. You know, unlike some games where if you have the money to buy power ups, you can get them. You can just buy loot boxes and you have to roll the dice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and exactly. And again, my whole gripe isn't with microtransactions and first off, randomized loot boxes in any AAA game. And this is my thing, cosmetic or not. I agree with Jim Sterling on this one and a few other people. If it's in the game and you're charging me $60 for it, I shouldn't have to pay for anything else in that damn game. Having to use a subscription, maybe. But as far as I'm concerned, cosmetic loot boxes are what led to what we're dealing with now. It was just, it was a gateway drug for loot boxes for pay to win. Now, if it's a free-to-play game, do whatever you want. I still think there's better ways to monetize your game than loot boxes. I've been harping on this one for a while. Warframe, awesome free-to-play game. They have balanced their microtransactions very well. There's no random bullshit in there. If you want a weapon, you buy that weapon. If you want a Warframe, you can buy that Warframe. Everything you can get in the game still. In fact, there's plenty of stuff you can't even buy. You can only get it in the game, especially most of the mods. You can't actually buy the individual mods unless it's from players. And on top of all that, unlike games like Overwatch and Destiny where you can't trade items between players, you can trade not only the items in game for Warframe, you can trade around the premium currency too. And even if you were to buy everything in the game, you would not really stand much higher chance of beating. First off, it's mainly a PvE game, so there's very little PvP in it. Most people just kind of ignore it. It's kind of a running joke in the game. But, yeah, I mean, you're not really going to stand too much higher chance of being better than somebody who actually just bought everything. I mean, if you play the game, you're going to have a better chance of doing good than somebody who doesn't play the game, period. You can buy everything you want and still suck ass.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
But that's that one, and that's where we are with EA right now, continuously putting the damn foot in their mouth. They haven't even finished up with the Battlefront 2 issue, and they're already got another game exactly like it that I can guarantee is going to get hit. Maybe not as hard as Star Wars, because Star Wars is such a more popular IP. Battlefront was much loved, and of course Star Wars is Star Wars. But I can guarantee the UFC 3 thing is probably going to play out probably about the same way, if not worse. Which leads us right into the Destiny 2 issue. We were talking about this earlier, how you kind of liked how it plays. I never played Destiny 1, year 1. I got into it in year 2. I met up with some buddies in the clan Exiled Existence. That's what our clan is named after. I did not found it. I'm a member of it. I'm just the one that does all the streaming and stuff for it. I met some good friends there. I've been friends with them for, 3-4 years now. Good friends, all vets damn near too. They're all Marines. Except for one, but we don't count him. I met some good friends, had some good times there. Destiny 2 came out. We were very excited about it. I got 4 copies of it. Everybody knows I bought one for all of our guys, and we played it. And pretty much after we beat the raid, a week later, we're like, this kind of sucks, and everything kind of hit at once. And before that, we were kind of harping on some of the stuff that was missing. There really wasn't. And here's kind of the thing, too. You don't notice a lot of stuff is missing in a game, especially one that's an MMO or as big as Destiny, until you really get all the way through it and you realize, okay, there isn't that much here.
Sorry.
Yep, bless you.
Sorry about that.
You don't realize that there isn't much there until you actually reach the end of it. So the Destiny 2 issue, first off, they were missing a lot of stuff from, or just period. A lot of people didn't like Destiny. I never played it. I never got into it. I thought it was like supposed to be good. You know, the hype when it first came out was supposed to be like, oh, it's supposed to be like Halo but better. I never got into it. Honestly, I've never played it. And with the new one that's out, I've only seen gameplay. Like I watched my girlfriend's brother play it, and he's really good at it. Like he's like fucking pro at that game. Well, I thought the new one looks good, and I actually was interested in trying it. Well, Destiny 1, year 1, it was out for 3 years. Still out technically, but I don't think it's playing it. Destiny 1, year 1 was essentially empty. I think it had like one raid, didn't really have a whole lot of in-game content. New game was hyped to death. It didn't really need to be because it wasn't worth the hype. They came out with a DLC for it. It was okay, but wasn't that, didn't really redeem anything. Year 2, they came out with probably their most famous and their best expansion, the Taken King. Taken King was awesome. It changed the whole game up. We got a ton of new stuff. It was alright after that. Got a couple more expansions. They weren't too bad. But I would say that by the end of Destiny 1, it seemed as though Bungie had learned a lot. Keep in mind, near the end of Destiny, they had started to sneak microtransactions in there for cosmetic stuff, but we'll get to that again here shortly. So they started to sneak in, like, random microtransactions for, like, emotes, stupid shit, like ornaments for your weapons and armor, that kind of thing. Not really a big deal at the time, but, I mean, the game was at least solid by the end of its lifespan. Now, enter Destiny 2. The launch of Destiny 2, we were all excited. Turns out the game was missing a lot of stuff. First off, they got rid of one of the best things just to have in the game, period, and that was randomized stats on weapons. What that is essentially whenever you got a legendary weapon, second highest tier there was, which was most of your gear, your weapon or your armor could have random stats on it. So essentially, you could spend, hours and days and weeks farming for one weapon that just had the perfect stats you wanted or the perfect perks you wanted. And the perks would be anything from increased magazines, increased stability, stuff like Firefly, which would cause your enemies to explode on a headshot, explosive rounds, that kind of thing. Come Destiny 2, they got rid of that whole system. Every weapon has got the same perks on it. So that's already cut out a lot of game time, a lot of grinding, and weapons don't feel special anymore. Once you got a weapon, that's it. And I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, I think I've had every weapon in the game now. I've got nothing else to really do, to really grind for. So whatever the top tier weapons are, that's it. There's no real customization in there. There's really nothing. So they got rid of the weapon forging system. They got rid of the random stats. The vendors, for example, before in Destiny 2 or in Destiny 1, there were a ton of vendors for all sorts of stuff. A lot of vendors were kind of useless, especially kind of in-game. They only sold, like low gear stuff or stuff people didn't really care about, but at least they had other vendors, right? We even had like ammo vendors for like stuff we could use in the middle of a mission. If we need more primary ammo, we can pop a ammo pack real quick. It had a cooldown, but hey, we can replenish ammo real quick, especially heavy ammo. That came in real handy. Expensive, but again, something that we loved and a reason to actually spend our money.
Yeah.
Come Destiny 2, all vendors are literally just RNG. I mean, there's not even ammo. Like, everything it's all running on tokens. You can't buy a specific piece of gear you want. Whereas in Destiny 1, they had a whole gear list from each vendor you could buy. For example, PvP, you keep playing PvP and earning your, your experience there and your shards there, and you can buy the weapons and gear you want. It took a long time to do, but you could actually buy the specific piece you want. Come Destiny 2, it's all token systems. You go to a specific planet or do a specific activity, you earn tokens for that planet or that activity. You turn in 20, 25 of them, and you just get a random piece of gear. That's it. There's no way to buy a specific piece of gear you want. Nothing like that. It's all, every single vendor, it's just a randomized. It's randomized, exactly. So, that's two things I got rid of. Now they also have a new system. It's called the Bright Engram system. Engrams in the game are essentially loot boxes. You collect them all when you're out. I mean, they drop off of bosses. It's essentially how you get most of your gear. Certain activities would give you the items straight out. Other than that, you get an engram, and it would randomly decode depending on where you got it from or what kind of engram it was. Now they have something called Bright Engrams. What Bright Engrams are the essentially what Destiny 2 is using for microtransactions. Bright Engrams are full of cosmetic items. These are anything from shaders to essentially gear shells, like a piece of gear that's only like level 10, like pretty much no level on it, but you can infuse with another piece of gear to make it. Excuse me, sorry, I'm drinking too.
There it is, dude.
Yeah.
There it is.
Essentially, it's just a piece of gear for looks. I mean, you can make it more powerful, but it doesn't give you any kind of power bonus whatsoever. You have to infuse it to make it good. So nothing as far as power in these. It's all emotes and it's all shaders. The first issue came when the shaders, which is exactly what it sounds like, a piece or an item to let your gear be a different color. In Destiny 1, they were all reusable. In Destiny 2, they changed it to where you can use a different shader on each piece of gear. In Destiny 1, your shader would color all your gear at once. You couldn't really customize it past that. Destiny 2, you can customize your gear with different shaders. You can mix and match however you want. All shaders now, one-time use. And of course, the best looking shaders you can only get out of Bright Ingrams. The only way to get Bright Ingrams are to either A, pay for them with silver, which is the in-game currency or paid currency for Destiny 2, or to level up once you've already maxed out your level. So once you hit level 20, you can keep earning experience, and every time you would level up, you get another Bright Ingram. This comes into play here in just a minute, but as far as the changes to Destiny 2, all they did was take stuff away from us and didn't really give us anything. They took away our random rolls, which was a huge reason that people, kept grinding for certain weapons. They took away vendors, everything, like literally all your gear is RNG at this point. Even after the end of the raid, even the raid doesn't really drop a whole lot of gear. It's all tokens. You might get lucky and get a piece of gear. You might open 8 chests in a raid and only walk away with 1 piece of gear. You got to turn in all your tokens afterwards. And even those, again, it's all random. Tokens just means random piece of gear. So again, pretty much
the grind. That's what I noticed is the grind, because my girlfriend's brother, when he was playing, he has like all the max level gear. I think 305 is the max right now for Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Except the helmet, and he was doing this one thing where he had to grind to get the gear. Like you can't. You have to grind to get it. So that's what he's doing right now still.
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, we were all 305, 304, 305 within like a week after doing the raid. So we've been maxed out for a while. We've all got the gear we want. We were finished with the grind a while ago. That's kind of the problem, because whereas we could keep grinding for the exact stats we want on a weapon and get, a quote-unquote god roll weapon, now everything is the same. So there's the top tier weapons, and nothing's ever going to be better than that until new gear comes out. Oh, they give us, randomized stats back. But so far, all they've done, they may have improved on some of the gunplay and improved on abilities. For the most part, all they did was take stuff away from us. Now, the big issue with this, and there's 2 camps in there. So there's one that says, okay, this is Destiny 2's first year. You got to give them time to kind of adjust things and fix things. That's, the first camp's argument, people trying to defend Destiny 2. And keep in mind, I am hardcore into Destiny. I love the game. However, I fall in the second camp, and that is, technically speaking, no, Bungie didn't. This isn't really Destiny 2's first year. They had all of Destiny 1 to get this right and to see what we want. We voiced our complaints and what we wanted in the game way back then. They saw what worked, and they seem to have just forgotten all that and ignored it in Destiny 2, and they're pushing everything for these Bright Ingrams for cosmetic crap. They forgot what we want in raids. They forgot exactly what we want as far as getting gear. They got rid of all the stuff we loved, and everyone, like the people in the first camp, were just, well, it's only the first year. They were actually developing Destiny 2 in the middle of Destiny 1. So they should have known all this stuff already, but instead, they just cut it all out. We really have no explanation for why they did it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't the first year of Destiny 2. It's the 4th year of Destiny. That's what it is. It's not Destiny 2 year 1. It's Destiny year 4. So you would think by now, Bungie would have their shit together. It would seem not the case.
That's crazy how these companies do, like, the way they do their designing for the games and then setting it up. It's kind of like it's no different than movies. Like, once one game is out, or like once it's done, they're actually working on multiple games at once.
Exactly. And that's just the release of Destiny 2.
Yeah, and listening, probably monitoring the chats and the forums and seeing what people are bitching about and then trying to adjust from there.
Well, and here's where what I talked about earlier is kind of coming into play more, where I said companies can't really get away with too much either, because one Redditor actually noticed something weird that the rest of us didn't notice, and it's caused a huge controversy for Destiny 2. So I mentioned earlier that once you hit max level in Destiny, you can keep gaining experience, and every time you would have leveled up, you get a Bright Ingram, right?
Yep.
It turns out that Destiny, without telling us, or that Bungie, without telling us, we're actually cutting the amount of experience we were getting for activities up to 95%. Actually, I heard up to 96%, actually. So depending on the activities and how often we were doing them, for example, if we were grinding stuff to get experience to get more Bright Ingrams, we were only getting maybe 4% of what we should have been getting. Now, this is sometimes common. People keep saying it's common in MMOs. Yes and no. Stuff would stop giving you as much experience as you get higher level. They don't always just completely cut out the experience you get. And if they do, they at least show you what the experiences you're getting. What was scummy about this is not only had they not told anybody that they were silently nerfing the experience we were getting, they actually display the experience you get at the bottom of the screen. Somebody went through with one of the Destiny apps, because there's a bunch of Destiny helper apps. They checked to see what the experience listed in-game was, and they compared that to the app. It turns out they were showing us experience that we were supposed to be getting. We're only getting about 4% of that at certain times. They were cutting it down by 50%, 75%. At some times, you're only getting 4% of what you should have been getting. So what was on screen was a blatant lie, and they didn't tell us any of this.
Well, that's what they do. You know what I mean? They think that they're smarter than everybody else, and then because they have that power, the power position that they have.
Yeah, well, and here's where it gets even better. You're right. Bungie does pay attention to stuff like Reddit and the forums, because after this got found out, they came out and said, and this is an indirect quote because I don't feel like finding the damn thing, but they essentially said, the system is not working the way we want it to. We hear your concerns. We're not happy with this system either. So we're going to go ahead and turn off the system. So first off, that whole experience throttling the system is just a flip of a switch. I am burping. Too much drink. It is essentially just a flip of the switch. They turn it off right away so that we should have been getting the amount of experience that was posted. Except immediately after that, people again were tracking how much experience they should have been getting, and it was still taking twice as long to level up as it should have. So they came to the conclusion that either A, they had still cut the experience for everything in half, and they were still showing incorrectly, or B, they doubled the amount of experience that you needed to level up. They did not say, or Bungie did not comment on any of this until, again, they came out, or the gamers came out on Twitter and essentially said, what the fuck, we're still not getting the experience we should have gotten. Destiny essentially came back and said, oh yeah, by the way, we doubled the amount of experience you need. So they go from one experience controversy to another, and again, they wouldn't have said anything about any of this if they hadn't got called out for it. There's no denying this. They would not have said a damn thing if Reddit and the gamers and the community did not come out and call them on it. Now, why is all this important? I mentioned that you get something called a Bright Engram whenever you level up. A Bright Engram is nothing more than an Overwatch cosmetic loot box. That's what it is. So whether they did this intentionally or not, let's give Bungie the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that the whole system, was imbalanced, that they didn't mean it to really cut that much experience. Let's say that we give them the benefit of the doubt on all of this. Let's even ignore the fact that they doubled the amount of experience that we're supposed to be getting. At the very least, whether it was intentional or not, they cut into the amount of loot boxes that Destiny 2 players should have been getting by a huge margin. So at the very least, they cut into that.
So you're not getting as many loot boxes as you used to get, right?
Exactly. At the very least, they weren't getting as many loot boxes that we should have been getting.
Lock loots, bro?
Yeah, again, drinking.
What's a lock loot?
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
You need to figure out what a lock loot is, and we're about to start selling items, merchandise.
I know.
Dude.
I'll come up with some
get your lock loots, dude.
I'll come out with a drawing. It'll be a gun or something. But,
lock loot. It's a lock loot, dude. The lock loot.
It's half gun, half guitar.
This is an outrage. Destiny's not giving out lock loots.
It'll be a Final Fantasy weapon. It's half guitar, half gun.
It's just a half crack pipe, half meth bowl. It's a lock loot.
Hey,
and it plays music.
Hey, there might be a market for that where I grew up. Anyway, so at the very least, even if it was unintentional, the end result is that players are essentially screwed out of items in the game, which to Bungie have a real-world monetary equivalent. So essentially, they're screwing players out of money is what they've done. Granted, we can't trade them in, but these boxes do have a monetary value as far as on the game. Then they turn around, and again, and this is where all doubt goes out the window, after they quote-unquote fix the system or turn it off, they double the amount of experience that gamers still need, so they're still throttling how many loot boxes players can get. So at this point, there's really no getting over the fact that they're doing this. And by the way, this only really, you can level up even with the experience debuff. You can still level up a character in 8 hours from start to finish. I did that on 2 characters. 8 hours, solid. One day you can do it. So it's not really doing anything to affect like actual story mode gameplay. All it's doing is affecting loot box shit. That's it.
It's fucked. I'd be pissed, you know what I mean? Because you have to put a lot of hours in to get stupid loot boxes, man. And then you always get bullshit. It's kind of like PUBG, dude. You'll like win, even just playing on PUBG, and then getting like the points to get a loot box, and then you get the same fucking hat every time. Like, you never get anything good in those loot boxes, dude. It's so rigged, bro.
Yeah,
It's like
pretty much.
it's like playing slot machines, dude.
Well, and what makes it even worse on this is that there is kind of a time limit on your loot boxes too, because Destiny 2 is now broken down into seasons. And each season only has certain items in their loot boxes per season. So, for example, this season 1, they have an emote called the Spicy Ramen emote. It's just, you know, a goofy little emote. It's an exotic emote, which is like the highest tier, but they have like cool effects to them. And essentially, it's like a little laser light show where the guy like opens up his hand. He has like a bowl of ramen. He pours hot sauce in it, mixes it up, and like eats it. It's like a little goofy little emote. But stuff like that, they've got a timer on it to where if you haven't got it by now, and keep in mind, this is one of the hardest items to get. It's exotic. It's a rarest item. You're not going to be able to get it after this season. So that puts another rush on people, if they haven't gotten it, to buy more loot boxes.
Very well. See, I feel like not just in the gaming community, but in all aspects of life nowadays with new technology, people are more apt to just try and make a buck than actually make quality things that people enjoyed. You know, like the era we grew up, like games were really good. I feel like the games are getting watered down, just like everything else. It's all oversaturated with a bunch of just like quick buck schemes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard to find a good, real game out there that's, one, actually good, and two, doesn't try to nickel and dime you every time you log on. I think the last game I played that surprised me and really surprised everyone, I'm looking at it right now, Horizon Zero Dawn. They just came out with a new DLC for it, actually, a year later, but, I mean, that was the last game I played that was just, you know, straight $60. Here's an awesome gaming experience for you. That was a new IP, for one. It was awesome, and they made their money off of making a great game.
That's good. See, that people need to follow that model again. I feel like it's just too greedy. You know what I mean? There's so many indie companies coming up too, and then they started to look at. Look at H1Z1, dude. H1Z1 has been in beta for like 2 years, and they've been making money off of that. And then somebody who created PUBG when PUBG came out, it's like a better version of H1Z1, more guns. It's way better than that, and they're killing H1Z1. H1Z1 slept on it because they were just milking their fan base, their players.
Exactly, and this is
PUBG's not doing that. PUBG's trying to make a good game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can still buy stuff, but dude, PUBG's killing H1. It's burying them. So there's so many companies. It's a huge competitive market now. You know, like I'm worried that the new Final Fantasy remake, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game.
Oh yeah, that was my first RPG. We can get into that one for hours.
Yeah, no, and they're making a remake, and it comes out this month actually, on the 29th.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, they're releasing that in chapters, though, aren't they?
I don't know. I didn't get too in depth in it. See, I hope that it's the whole game. That's what I'm worried about. That they're gonna try and fuck us on like a classic. You know what I mean?
Final Fantasy VII remake. If I'm not mistaken, the last I saw, they were releasing this as chapters. So I think you may be a little disappointed. I haven't. I'll check again.
I'll walk up to Square Enix, dude, and I'll be pissed.
Let's see.
Like, that's the only game I've been waiting for, you know what I mean?
Here's an article. Let me pull this up. This is from Game
Dude,
Rant.
don't disappoint.
Well, you were dumb enough to guess star. Sorry, yeah. Okay, this was 2 years ago, and they were saying it was going to be a multi-part series. So I don't know if they've done anything since then. Let's see. That's from Game Rant, but yeah, we can get into that one all day. That might be a topic for next week, but yeah, as of right now, I think there's going to be, there's already a huge split in the game community. I mean, there's AAA developers who seem to be trying to nickel and dime everybody at everything. There's the mobile games, which is apparently the biggest part of the games market. They made like the most money.
You getting your Rick on?
Pretty much, and it's all microtransactions. But there are games, like you said, that are indie games, which is going to be the topic for the end of the show, that I think are going to actually make a huge, not even comeback, they're going to rise up, really, and become one of the dominant forces. But, again, I got thoughts on that one for the end of it. We got a little bit more Destiny stuff to go into before we get to that portion. So, all that experience stuff came out. Keep in mind that during all this, there is the first DLC coming out for Destiny 2, Curse of Osiris, okay? People have been waiting for the new DLC. They were hoping for changes. They've been asking for day one. We haven't really seen any damn changes at all. And Destiny has a habit of all their big changes usually come on like huge updates like DLC, that kind of thing. They do like their biggest updates on that. Well, we've been waiting for Curse of Osiris. Huge disappointment so far. First off, the live streams where they showed off some of this stuff, more downvotes than upvotes. Let's see. It's taking place on a planet we haven't been able to do any story missions on so far. It seems like the map is small. Yeah, extremely tiny map. Is what everyone's saying. And keep in mind, these are like mainstream journalists saying this too, and they can have a bias sometimes just because of just because they're mainstream gaming news, so they have all sorts of freaking ties into the game community. Even they're saying the map is small. There's no new raid for it, and in any MMO, and whether people want to argue if Destiny is an MMO or not, it's a massive game, it's multiplayer, and it's online. It's an MMO. It's not an RPG, but it's an MMO. In any MMO, releasing a DLC without a raid is not a good thing to do. That is directly tied into in-game stuff. You don't want to release one without a raid. This one's releasing, I think all they're doing, they're adding in a new layer, I guess, to the original raid in Destiny 2. I'd have to look in the layer thing, but I guess they're adding in another part to the original raid, which is just fucking stupid, but whatever. No new raid for this. Small map. They did talk about they're going to try to, or they're adding in a weird stat reroll system. It's called like Masterwork Weapons or something, but it still is nowhere near what the original random stat thing was, so that's a huge disappointment. They had 3 live streams scheduled for Curse of Osiris. They went through the first 2. The third one was scheduled to go, and the release for this is on Tuesday, keep in mind, on the 5th. They had to cancel the 3rd live stream because the backlash about all this is so bad that they essentially had to cancel it to address concerns in the player community. So they've come out with all these changes that they're going to be doing here soon. They've addressed some stuff, but again, they're going to have some stat rerolls. They're going to have stuff like player ornament or ornaments for like weapons and gear. They addressed a few things. One, they avoided the whole experience debacle again. They did not try to answer for that. They, tactically avoided that one. They haven't gone and talked about, one-time use shaders or anything that people are still pissed off about. Essentially, they haven't addressed most of the major problems in Destiny 2. And it's gotten to the point now to where they're canceling live streams to try and do damage control on this. Destiny's supposed to be a 10-year evolution. They're supposed to learn as they go. It seems like they're devolving, if anything. And they're almost blatantly ignoring what players are asking for. They've lost like 78% of their, it's like more like 80% of their player base already. They had lost like 2 million players after a month. You would think a company like this would actually get their head out of their ass after the 4th year, especially after huge sales. I mean, they released this for PC for the first time, and they had a huge PC launch. It was great. And they're losing all their players again. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Bright Ingrams are just making them that kind of stupid money to where they could just say, fuck you, we're going to do what we want or what. But I don't think this game's going to last too much longer or really have a community behind it here if they don't get their heads out of their ass.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's becoming more just about money now, more than ever. Instead of just making an enjoyable game for everybody to play, and now they're just trying to just milk everybody for the last dollar. But the fucked up part is that they know people are going to pay it. It's been working.
Yeah, I mean the money must be good if they can
do
this shit.
The only way that they wouldn't be getting away with it is if people didn't buy into it, didn't buy the microtransactions.
Yeah,
like if everybody rised up and boycotted them, but that'll never happen because there's so many little kids that I gotta get this, and their parents just buy it for them.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I guess, like I said, I guess the money's that good for this stuff that they are just like, fuck you guys, we're gonna put out whatever, you guys can take it, and if you don't like it, fuck it, we got plenty of people spending thousands of dollars on these loot boxes.
Exactly, they're not gonna change for like a group of like 1,000 people that are bitching, or even 10,000.
Well, over 2 million at this point that have dropped off. I mean, if 2 million can drop off, and
2 million, then even then they're still not hurting at all.
Yeah, if they can walk around with their heads up their ass, I guess they got our money the first time. They don't care about anything else. So I mean, they're gonna just skate by whatever loot boxes they put out at this point. I mean, that's what seems to be the case.
Exactly, it's fucked, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's pretty much the biggest news going on right now. Is pretty much the big games right now, and that are just fucking up beyond belief and with no sign of stopping. And that's the crazy thing. Like I said before, we have more of a voice than ever, and people are actually voting with their wallets, but apparently it's not enough because they're still doing this. So maybe we just got to sustain this. Maybe they're just trying to ride out the storm or what. But before, when something would happen with the game, you know, it would die down. This is showing no sign of dying down, so maybe we'll see something, maybe we won't, but it's more and more every day. Crazy shit's popping up about these games, and no one's really letting these guys get away with anything.
It's ridiculous.
It really is. So that's going to bring me to my my proposal that I have. And this is something we've already started working on. I'm going to talk to a few other YouTubers and kind of start this. My proposal is to start an independent website. And just in case anyone's watching, this is my fucking idea. I'll kick you in the nuts if you take it. But essentially, okay, we got the ESRB. They rate games on, you know, violence and content, that kind of thing, whatever. I think gamers and independent journalists need to come together. I will spearhead this because I've already started it, and make essentially a rating system for how our game monetizes itself. So essentially like a monetized rating system. So let's say something like, I brought it up earlier, Horizon Zero Dawn. It was just a straight $60 game, and that was it. No more nickel and diming, that was it. So we'd rate that like standard, you know, standard is $60, and you buy it. Something like Battlefront 2 or UFC 3, we'd rate something like, you know, MP for like monetized progression. You know, it would be something where you're not going to progress in the game unless, you know, you spend a ton of money or something like that. Come up with a rating system to where it wouldn't necessarily be on the back of the games, but it would be something more like Rotten Tomatoes, where we have our own website where people go to check out the stuff. They'll check out a game, and we'll keep pushing this, and it's kind of like, even if no one else gets on it, we'll put it out there. Eventually it'll spread around to where people start taking it seriously and say, hey, this is the game, and there's a rating on how they monetize it. You know, take a look. You can look at exactly what you can expect as far as microtransactions and how pervasive they are in the game, how often they pop up, how unbalanced it is because of it, that kind of thing. So that's my proposal right there.
I feel like that'd be really good. A lot of people would start to go on there and really understand which games are about the money and trying to rape you, and which games are actually worth getting into. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That'd be a great rating system.
Yeah, I brought this up to my wife yesterday in the car. Yeah, yesterday or the other day in the car, and she went fucking buku. And she's a gamer. I mean, she doesn't play too many. I mean, she's usually on WoW.
What I'm gonna tell you right now is you better jump on that and get that started now, because you're it wasn't the brightest idea to broadcast that.
I've already started this system, so I'm already...
All right, as long as it's good, make sure you get a patent pending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or a copyright on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I'm starting this already, so I'm maybe getting...
Yeah, I would make sure you get the copyright on it. It shouldn't be too much. I mean, you're just gonna be copywriting documents of the business, and then obviously you'll have to trademark it eventually. But you'll want to get that done before somebody that actually has a fuck ton of money can just take it from you. You know what I mean?
So we're gonna work on that, getting that going. I'll get with our mutual acquaintances here shortly to take care of that this week. But hey, I think that'd be a good thing. And even if I'm not looking to make money, I mean, I'm looking to fucking get big. I'm looking to make money, obviously. But at the very least, this is something that needs to be done. I mean, we have stuff for like videos and games and movies that, you know, have like, you know, alternate review sites, that kind of thing. We need to have something clearly for the gaming industry. Pretty much the most unstoppable industry and unstoppable subset of people and hobbies in the world. I mean, how many times have people tried to shut down games and gamers over the years, and it's just met with nothing? I mean, we've shut down pretty much every attempt to stop gaming there is. It's pretty much the biggest, or one of the biggest industries in the world. It's bigger than Hollywood by a huge margin. It's not going anywhere. So at the very least, we need to actually get another rating system out there. Not just for how the game actually plays, you know, the violence rating and all that crap, like the ESRB, they got that handled, whatever. We're going to start the freaking monetized rating system. I got another name for it. I don't want to say it on here just in case something does go down. But I am going to start this fucking system. I got a good acronym for it. I'm not going to fucking say what it is on here, though. But
yeah, I got you.
But yeah, we'll talk about this when we're done. But yeah, I think that's something that's needed here. I think we can have a site. Well, I won't go into details, but I think that'll be the next big project, and we're going to hit that up. But I think something like that is needed because, yeah, microtransactions aren't going anywhere. However, there are some places I believe they are unacceptable especially in certain forms and what their content is. If you have a premium 60, even if you spend fucking $10 on a game, then there should be no power items or progression items locked behind I'm burping a lot. Randomized loot boxes. So, again, free-to-play games, as far as I'm concerned, do whatever the hell you want to with them. Make your money how you got to. If I got to pay $60 for a game, I better not see a damn microtransaction pop up at all anytime. DLC, that may be something different. But even then, on DLC, I expect a certain amount of content for a certain amount of money. If I only got to pay $1 for it, I only expect maybe to see like a different haircut or something, obviously. If I'm paying $30, $40 for your DLC, I expect 30, 40 hours worth of additional game time. At least.
Yeah.
So, those are just my stances on that. Like I said, those are the big things in the news going on right now. And I told you before, we kind of have a genre we talk about every week. Last week we talked about horror games. It was myself and Dash last week. Dash is, he's not a member of Exiled Existence. He's too young to be in there. He's only 15 right now, but he is an associate of ours. Cool little dude. He helped me make a lot of my Ark Survival Evolved videos. Like I said, too young to technically be in the gaming clan, but he is a, I don't want to say contributor. He is a friend of ours, put it that way. But this week he suggested that we go over indie games, and you and I were talking about some indie games earlier and how they, personally to me, I think they're going to be on the rise. I don't want to say make a comeback. I want to say they're going to be on the rise, or at the very least more important than ever, especially with the way the AAA industry has its head up its ass right now.
Look at PUBG. Look
Exactly.
at PUBG started indie, and then they got a Microsoft contract, but Microsoft doesn't.
They're breaking records every other day.
They're killing it right now. That's the only game my girl plays, and she streams it live. She's actually live right now. You can go on to mixer.com/MizSyn Official, MIZZSYN Official, as well as Twitter, or excuse me, not Twitter, twitch.tv/MIZZSyn SYN Official. But yeah, dude, the game is just the new updates now for the test server. You can climb, like, instead of like just getting stuck at walls, like you can actually like climb up on the walls and stuff. Like the game is getting so much better, burying H1Z1. H1Z1 fucked up by waiting 6 years and still in beta, almost 6 years now. And this game it's running smooth. They added fog, there's weather now. It's good, dude. And it's an indie company, and they're making millions. They got a Microsoft contract. They have a contract for Xbox. They're fucking chilling.
Yeah.
These guys did it right. You know, they did it right.
Well, that's kind of
go ahead.
I was saying that's kind of a good segue too. You mentioned that they've been in beta forever. I've noticed that a lot too, with a lot of games that have come out or have technically been in beta for a while. There are some that are good that actually get out of beta and actually finally release. There's plenty that I think you're right. They've been in beta for a long time. There's a lot of games that just seem to be in beta forever and never actually release. They just kind of stay in that alpha or beta phase and keep adding on stuff. I think some games legitimately have a release date or an idea when they want to release or what they want to have in the game before they release it. And I think some games use the alpha and the beta tags just to kind of crutch along with shitty games and slow updates.
Yeah.
Like, for example, what's the newest game I was playing? We were talking about this one the last couple of weeks, too, Subnautica. It's undersea indie game I've been playing that scares the absolute shit out of me because I'm scared of the ocean. That one's going to be releasing here. They've had to push it back a little bit, but they do actually have not only a release date, but it's one of those sandbox games to where there's actually a story and plot. You can actually finish the game. It's not one of those necessarily go in and just build stuff forever games. This is actually a game that's got a pretty good backstory and plot to it, and it does have a release. Space Engineers is another one I've been playing. Technically, they're in beta right now, but they did have an official release not too long ago. They were in beta for some years, but it was actually more of a legit development cycle. Like, here's a base game. You can just place blocks. They have actually released updates, huge ones. They keep up with like, this isn't a game that releases an update every 6 months. They're constantly changing things, and they have been moving up their cycle. They have been actually, releasing and having official releases and actual dates for stuff, too. There are other games, like you mentioned, like H1Z1. What are some other games that I'm trying to think any others off the top of my head that are constantly in beta or alpha That just
Well,
light and dark.
anything on Steam, dude.
Yeah, like 90% of what's
Any
on
Steam game, bro. Any Steam game. There's a game. Speaking of Ocean, like Ocean, one of my teachers, he actually makes the music in this game called Depth in Steam, and it's you can either be a shark or you can be the divers, and you kind of you go in like your treasure hunters,
Mm-hmm.
You have to look. You're fighting sharks, and it's fucking terrifying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm terrified of the ocean only as far as sharks, so I'll still go out there. I love the ocean, but like I'm not gonna go in the middle of the ocean just swimming in there. You know what I mean? Unless I know there's no shark. But dude, they did a real good job like making it like legit. Like the sharks are terrifying. It's brutal. Like when the shark comes and attacks you, dude, like you have to fight it off and shit. So it'll be like players versus sharks. You know what I mean? If you want to do it that way, or you can do the story mode. But it's an indie game, and it's caught a lot of popularity. And one of my teachers, when I was at Full Sail, he actually does the music for that game and updates it. But it's still in beta.
Nice. Very nice. Let's see.
It's called Depth.
Depth. I'll look that one up here a little bit.
Looks terrifying, dude.
Well, pretty much any game. I mean, you can put me in the middle of the ocean with a bunch of goldfish, and I'm probably going to shit myself when the lights go out.
A bunch of goldfish?
You don't understand the fear I have of the ocean.
I didn't know you were that much of a puss.
You have no idea. I didn't learn to swim till I was 21.
Gee, well, you didn't learn to swim till you joined the Cream Corn, huh?
No, I learned before. No, I was 20 when I learned how to swim. My first apartment. But yeah, I mean, I knew how to swim. I'm a good swimmer now. I'm fine. I just don't want to. Not in the ocean anyway. It scared the shit out of me. One too many freaking shark weeks, I guess. I don't know what it is. No, I know exactly what it is. It's just having that extra degree of danger around, or extra 2
What kind of animal is a shark, bro? Like, why does that fish? Why is there a big ass fish like that has teeth and it eats things? Like, why the fuck? Who made that?
You know what? I probably wouldn't even be that scared. I mean, I'd be scared of a shark, obviously. The shark doesn't scare me so much as just being in the open ocean, period. One, because eventually, if I don't get rescued, I know my ass is gonna drown. Two, you never know when something's behind you or under you. Like, you can never be sure. There's nowhere to put your back to. You're never safe anywhere. Something can always sneak up around you in the ocean. That's what scared the shit out of me the most. I guess just that.
Yeah, I agree.
Void.
Out in Okinawa, dude, I did some like snorkeling, right? And everybody had flippers. I didn't. I just had shoes, like the water boots or something like that, so I didn't step on a sea urchin. And dude, without flippers in that ocean, it was tough. I almost drowned.
No.
But we're swimming, right? You know how it's like kind of shallow, and all of a sudden just got extremely dark blue, and then even farther down black, right?
Yeah.
We swam over a crevice, dude. I don't know. It was like a never-ending crevice. You know, like those deep-ass crevices that like submarines go down into, like divers.
It'd be just a trail.
It was probably like a 25-foot like in width of it. As we swam over that, I was terrified, bro. I'm like, oh my god, like now that's deep. Like it was gone, like to the abyss. I'm like, dude, this Jaws. So I turned around, swam my happy ass back to shore, popped the chew high, and chilled right there. I'm like, you guys can enjoy that shit.
Yeah, can't do it. I did one snorkeling out in Hawaii. That was probably the only time I actually went out and did anything that I even consider crazy out in the ocean. We went out to Waikiki Beach every weekend for 6 weeks because we were there for 6 weeks. And we would go and we'd get the snorkels and we'd get the fins, and I was scared then too. But we would go out, tons of sea urchins. Like, the coral was up to your chest when you were swimming out. And there's, like, sea urchins every 2 inches. And this pissed me off because we had to swim over, like, when the tide was in, whenever we went there. There was literally, like, an inch of clearance between you and the sea urchins and the rest of your body as you're, like, trying to, like, barely paddle out by moving your arms, like, a couple of inches to move forward.
Yes, sea urchins are no joke. You get stung by those. You can die from those things.
Yeah, luckily I didn't get stuck, but we're going out there. You know, we're having a good time, so I'm enjoying the stuff. By the way, I found this out. It's illegal to touch a sea turtle in Hawaii. If anybody didn't know that, don't try to pet a sea turtle. That is illegal.
Wow.
Didn't find that out till we saw a sign after we had already been chasing sea turtles out there. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, the 6th week we were out there, we'd actually swum. We were like easily a mile offshore. We'd swam over the coral. There was like a bit of a drop off, and then it like flattened out, and the coral was like barely to where I could stand on it and have my head barely above water. And it was like that for miles around us. We were fucking around out there, and we noticed it gotten dark outside. The clouds were coming in. We were like, okay, there's going to be a storm, and let's head back. No sooner had I turned around that a jellyfish smacks me in the goggles, and my mind went to that scene in Finding Nemo where we saw that little jellyfish had turned around and it was a wall of them, and I think I peed a little bit, but we swam our asses back. I didn't get stung. We started swimming back, and it was only then that my buddy, who is a strong swimmer and has essentially lived in the ocean his whole life, told us, oh yeah, there's a big-ass opening in the coral where you can avoid going through it right here. That's the way I've been getting out. I just thought you guys wanted to swim over the sea urchins, and I was so pissed after that. I think I rolled his head up in the window just to get him back for that. That pissed me off so much.
Like, I would have been pissed too, man.
It was free. There's nothing there. And that same day when we were swimming back, I saw a sea snake at the bottom of the...
Whoa, a sea snake.
Sea snake that was digging around in the sand. We looked this damn sea...
What does a sea snake look like, bro?
It's another creature. It's like a liger, but I'll give you the drawings for this one later.
All right, I need these drawings for both.
No sooner had we got back, I got curious, and we looked up that sea snake. Apparently the most venomous sea snake in the ocean that I swam over. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I said, fuck doing snorkeling after that forever, and to this day I've held to that. In fact, I don't think I've been in the ocean since then unless it was Marine Corps mandated. So, yeah, fuck the ocean. But, yeah, long story short, that's why the game with a bunch of furry happy creatures in Subnautica scares the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good times. I swear to God, I'm not really a pussy in real life unless I'm in the ocean. That's the only time. Yeah, what else? Yeah, I was looking up, yeah, we got way off topic there, but, I like it. Yeah, I do think with the way the industry is going right now, indie games are definitely going to have they're almost going to become the new AAA developer, but it's only going to be for certain games, like you mentioned, like PUBG, games that actually give people what they want. They're good games, diamonds in the rough or whatever, but, especially in, like, early access, but some of these games, they release to fucking huge numbers, and people love them. One of the games I play right now, Ark Survival Evolved, I was playing that about 6 months, maybe a year before it actually officially released. It has officially released. It's a great game. It's a game you go in, you can tame dinosaurs and shit, you can advance through technology, you got bosses you can fight, different maps to unlock. They got another map here coming out called Aberration here soon. It's another game that, I'm not sure how many copies it sold, but I know it sold well over 1 million copies. It's even, I think, in early access it did that. But it is another huge indie game. Trying to think who else was some other big ones, but I mean, really, there's a bunch of indie games that are just blowing some of the competition out of the water, and there's plenty of other AAA games that are making some companies like EA and Bungie with the shit they're pulling. They're just making them into living jokes now. I mean, all EA is right now is a joke.
Bungie's following suit.
Yeah, Bungie. Activision's another one. I'm still waiting to see.
Activision.
I'm waiting to see what they do with Anthem. Anthem is another. It looks kind of like Destiny. It looks pretty cool actually. But I mean, we're all waiting for them to announce. Yeah, this is the loot boxes we're gonna have in it. Because if they have loot boxes, there are a ton of people that are just gonna just. This is the type of game that could easily be Game of the Year if they do it right. But I can guarantee if it's full of loot boxes and everything, because it's supposed to release next year. If they release this to microtransactions and loot boxes, it's going to be dead in the water.
Every game now is all microtransactions and loot boxes. And then they always... That's how they make their money, you know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like the system's set up so that when you first start playing, like you'll get like a few rare items in the beginning, and then like it slowly starts to dwindle down. Like the higher level you get, the more you rank up. Kind of like they suck you in. It's kind of like scratch tickets, you know? You win on like $1 scratch ticket, you go and buy another one. You keep winning, and then slowly, then you'll eventually not going to win. You know what I mean? It's how they do it. So it's basically, like you said, it's gambling, but for gamers, you know?
Yep. Even games like Guild Wars 2, they got hit recently. They were doing well. They had a pretty solid player base. Even they fell prey to the loot box system. Apparently they had, I think it was some mount skins that they had released. Well, lo and behold, they released them in random loot boxes, and the Guild Wars 2 community blew up because of that. Now, unlike other games, there was only one skin per mount, and you couldn't get a duplicate item, so I think there was like 30 mounts or something like that. So if you bought 30 boxes, you'd have all the skins, you know, no chance of a repeat. But at the same time, if you're looking for a specific mount skin, you may have to buy 30 loot boxes to actually get the skin you want.
Ridiculous.
So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting watching where the gaming industry goes here. And, again, like I've been saying, I think there's going to be a huge split. I don't think random power items are going to last too much longer as far as loot boxes. I do think they may try to make a comeback at some other point. But I don't think here in the next year or two that they're going to be. I think loot boxes are still going to be an issue. I think cosmetic loot boxes are going to be pretty much a standard for every game that's AAA. I don't think too many other companies are going to try to pull the EA pay-to-win mechanic, though. Not on a AAA or a premium price game.
I got you.
But, again, we'll see. Matter of fact, I made a video about that. No sooner had I made a video about that Battlefront 2 had to cut out its loot boxes or its paid currency. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I got a pretty good feeling about it. I do think it's going to be a rough next few years, if not maybe rough decade, but I do think it'll eventually even out. In the meantime, it's really just going to be picking through all the crap to get to the good games. I think the next game I'm really looking forward to is Monster Hunter World.
Yeah? What's that one about?
Kind of think Horizon. It's a game that's been around for a while. Or the series has. Think Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, big monster fights. That kind of thing. But with up to 4 players, and the monsters, or you know, you fight like dragons and random monsters. You gotta hunt them. So there's like no health bar on them. You gotta like find out their patterns of attack. You gotta find out what biomes they hang out in. There's like 14 different weapons, each one with one of 4 different like fighting styles to it. So it's really customizable as far as how you fight and how you hunt. But essentially it's like a giant monster hunting game. Exactly what it sounds like, Monster Hunter. You go out and fight these giant monsters. You get you carve them up, you get loot off of them, you use that loot to make more powerful weapons and more powerful gear. You rank up as a hunter. As you rank up, you can fight more and more powerful monsters and more different creatures, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's kind of a niche market, but the people that like it love it. I've played it since it was back on PSP. I love it. I really do. It's a great game. Up to 4 people can play it. It's coming out in January. I've already taken off 4 days from work to play it and live stream it, so I can't wait for that to come out. But yeah, that's that's one that made headlines by saying, yeah, we're just going to give you guys the experience you've come to love and expect from us. We're not going to have loot boxes. And they made headlines because of front page headlines because of that in the gaming community. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'm going to wholeheartedly support, play, and stream the hell out of that one.
Well, that sounds like a good game. I got to check it out.
Yeah, it's...
Give me a good review on that one.
Yeah, it's Monster Hunter World. Again, multiplayer up to 4 people. You can do it solo if you want. I mean, anyone who's played the series before knows what it is. It's the same Monster Hunter. It's the same old thing. They got a few new things in there, but it's the same game that we love. They have the same amount of new stuff like they always do. But, again, it gives us more of what we've come to love and expect out of the series. So that's one I got no problem buying and wholeheartedly endorsing.
Nice.
So... that's pretty much all the news that I had for this stream. You got any final thoughts about anything that we've gone over? Just anything gaming in general?
I think we hit it pretty good, man. Indie market right now, PUBG is the leader, I believe.
PUBG is the leader in just about everything, I think, right now.
Yeah, PUBG's killing it in the gaming world. Other than that, I think we covered everything, man. I thought it was a pretty good news review, and I hope that the listeners enjoyed some of the good topics we spoke about, and got something from this, especially with the EA stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh my God! Yeah. If you've got nothing else from this, I'll say come at me, bro. Come at me, EA. Fuck EA. Don't buy any of their games. Vote with your wallet. And if they want to come after me, at the very least, it'll get my channel more traffic. So come at me, bro. That's all I got. Yeah, that was pretty much it. So, I mean, thank you guys again for coming by. Thank you, Renegade. You want to go ahead and plug your site one more time? Anything? I mean, put it back up on the screen.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can. I also dropped a new single, 2 of them actually. You can check out my music on Spotify, iTunes. You can just look up Renegade Poetics, and then look up the new single "Still Won't Lose" and the new single "The Cycle." It'll be off my upcoming album Devil's Lasso, and I'm actually going to start shooting some of the video for The Cycle tomorrow morning, actually. So I should have some visuals coming up for it, and really push that single out there while the album's getting completed. I got a lot on my plate. And as far as Streetplex Entertainment goes, you guys need custom beats, instrumentals. If you need movie trailer music, intros for your channels. If you need audio mixed and mastered, if you need film, audio post, film stuff, if you need that kind of mixing and mastering for dialogue and adding sound effects, sound design, all that good stuff. I do it all. Just hit me up on facebook.com/SPENTLLC, and then you can hit me up on my email, streetpoeticsentertainment@gmail.com, or just call me 978-735-6608. That's the company line, and I would look forward to working with you guys, and it'd be cool to just see what you guys have in mind as far as creativity, and I love networking and working on all kinds of projects. It's a really good time. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you again for coming on. Again, our first guest, our debut guest, episode 3, and we appreciate you coming on, man. Really.
Of course, man. Anytime. And I guess that's all I got for you guys. You save rounds. You get a dog tag on that one?
No, I think we're good. Again,
right, bro.
I'm gonna do the intro again. Wholeheartedly endorse this man. He did our intro music. We're gonna play it again as we leave. Renegade, I get with you after we're done here. And thank you guys for coming by. And we'll see you next week, same time. We'll come at you with any updates for the EA and Destiny situation. By then, Destiny's newest expansion will drop. We'll see what other things happen in the news. We'll try to bring you some more news. We actually need a topic for next time. Since you're the guest, I'll let you choose what our topic will be for next week.
Next week,
we need a game genre, some kind of
oh yeah, of course. Honestly, how about Overwatch and PUBG?
Overwatch, PUBG. Okay, so the arena type shooter or shooter type game, like arena, arena shooters.
Yes, yep. Overwatch, PUBG, Fortnite.
All right, there we go. We got
those 3 games. Yeah, those 3 games are pretty good, and a lot of people are playing them. Fortnite's kind of like a builder shooter. It's pretty competitive.
All right, we got it. So we'll do some research. We get our topics on that, and yeah, as always, thank you guys for coming by. If you like what you saw and heard, please like and subscribe. Shameless plug for myself. We have landed Entertainment LLC. Thanks for coming by once again, and we will see you guys later.